Dr. Demento sometimes plays this next song on his Halloween episode. And it's not really a Halloween song per se, but I guess it's maybe the spookiest song in my oeuvre. If this song, I guess, is kind of scary. If anybody, I just want to say up front, if anybody has to soil themselves during this song, we are not responsible. That's on you.
Where's Steve doing? What are you doing back there, Steve? Oh, he wants to play some keyboards. It takes 2 people to play these keyboards. They have a secret. I don't know if you guys have heard this story. This is the Dan Pasternack story. Do you remember Dan Pasternack, Bermuda? Yeah. This is also known as the lowest point in my entire career. It's a stupid story. It's not a sad story. Dan Pasternack today is a very successful comedy TV producer. He's a producer on Portlandia. He's done a lot of great things. But in the early 80s, when I was in my early 20s, Dan Pasternack was 13 years old, and he was very annoying. He was the most annoying kid. He would call the Dr. Demento show on the request lines, and John and I would, we'd be hanging out and answering the phones and taking requests. And I forget what he did exactly, but he just annoyed the bejesus out of us. And okay, here's where it gets pathetic. As much as we didn't want to talk to Dan Pasternack, one time he called up and he said, "Hey, Al," no, I gotta give you backstory. Again, early 80s, I did not have my record deal yet. I'm working for minimum wage at Westwood One. I'm living in a little apartment in Hollywood with a Murphy bed out of the wall. So I was a star on the Demento show. I had My Bologna, Another One Rides the Bus, but this is before, the album started coming out. Dan Pasternack calls up and he says, "Hey, Al, I'll pay you $20 if you come to my house and give me a concert." And I did. You may think that is the lowest point, but it gets worse. So I go to his house. I played all my hits at the time. There's some kind of recording of it somewhere. I think he took some pictures, maybe did some audio. I'm not sure if they had video cameras back then, but he documented it as best as he could. And then I said, "Okay, $20. And he goes, I don't have the money." Here's where it gets worse. I said, "You must have money around the house someplace." And we proceeded to dig around for change in the sofa cushions. That is the lowest point in my career. Thank you very much. And now... Okay, you sing it. She's looking at her phone. She's not even singing. There was a movie that came out in 1989 that changed the face of cinema and the very world as we know it. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you realize I'm talking about Weekend at Bernie's. That lovely buddy comedy about 2 guys and a wacky, goofy, lovable, decaying corpse. Right now, we'd like to play a song from the original motion picture soundtrack of Weekend at Bernie's. But we don't know any, so instead, we'd like to play the title track from the movie UHF. I know what you guys are waiting for. The keyboard solo. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to present to you one of my closest friends and perhaps the greatest keyboard player I've ever been with. Such an honor to have him on this tour. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Emo Phillips.
Emo Phillips, ladies and gentlemen, Emo Phillips. There was a movie that came out in 1989 that changed the face of cinema and perhaps the very world as we know it. And I'm sure most of you realize I'm talking about Roadhouse, starring Patrick Swayze. Featuring the immortal line, "Pain don't hurt," which caused millions of moviegoers to wonder, does he mean pain doesn't hurt or pains don't hurt? Perhaps we'll never know. Anyway, right now we'd like to play a song from the Roadhouse original motion picture soundtrack, Roadhouse Boogie. But we don't know that song, so instead, we're gonna do the title track of UHF. There was a movie that came out in 1989 that changed the face of cinema and perhaps the very world as we know it. I'm sure a lot of you realize the movie I'm speaking of is The Karate Kid Part 3. A movie that answered so many unanswered questions about The Karate Kid Part 2, in which film historians and scholars universally herald to be one of the top 4 Karate Kid sequels of all time. Right now we'd like to play a track from the Karate Kid Part 3 original motion picture soundtrack. 50 Cent's big dance club hit, "Sweep the Leg, Then Shake Your Booty." But we don't know that song, so instead, we're gonna do the title track from UHF. This is one of my awkward celebrity encounter stories. I'll tell you the Dean Stockwell story. Do you guys know who the actor Dean Stockwell? He was in Blue Velvet, a lot of movies, and he was in Quantum Leap. And I met Dean Stockwell at I think it was a party somewhere shortly after Quantum Leap came on the air. And I was aware of the show, but I'd never seen any of the episodes. I've seen a lot now, but at the time, no. And I met him at a party, and we struck up a casual conversation. And he asked me if I'd seen the show. And, I don't know why, but I lied, It was a little social white lie. But I'm the world's worst liar. So it came out very awkwardly. It went like this. He goes, "So have you seen my new show, Quantum Leap?" And I said, "Yes." And then I didn't say anything else. And he didn't say anything else. And about 10 seconds later, he turned around and walked away. That was my awkward Dean Stockwell story. Are we done, Jim? Are we ready?